When did you first see it, the propofol?
Well, I've actually never seen Michael taking propofol. The first I've ever heard of propofol was during this Dr. Conrad Murray trial. I think it was in 1999, there was a doctor who explained to me a procedure and what he was doing, but I've never seen Michael taking propofol. I've never
Okay, well, the procedure that an anesthesiologist would do, let's be clear, an anesthesiologist uses propofol to put people to sleep, and that's the only drug you can use that puts people reliably out and then wakes them up again in a couple of hours. Everything else would have him out the rest of the day. Well, so what you described in your book is somebody receiving propofol. It's just the way it is. So that was the summer of 1999, I guess. So you did witness propofol being administered.
I've never witnessed propofol. I've never seen
you saw an anesthesiologist explain to you that he was giving him propofol on a regular basis. But let's go back to... You also had an experience with Michael where he was completely intoxicated when he was due on stage. Tell us about that experience.
It was the 30th anniversary special, and I was actually at the Twin Towers right before that picking up something from Bank of America. I get a call from security saying, we can't get in touch with Michael. So I rush back, and I opened the door, and he's sleeping. And I can tell he was a little groggy, and I knew he took some medicine, and right before the show, and I was really disappointed with him that he did so. But you know what? Michael is a fighter, and he's fine. We got him ready, and he performed an incredible show.
And so why didn't somebody intervene right then? Why didn't somebody do something about his substance use? I was to get to the point now where it was affecting his ability to function at work. It was clearly well beyond what a physician would want him to be taking. How come people didn't jump in right then?
Dr. Drew, there was a time where there was definitely some concern. And his family addressed the situation with Michael. They were there. They were trying to have conversations with him. Michael didn't want to hear it from anyone. But you know what? At the end of the day, we had a conversation, and he moved on. He went past that stage, and then he was completely fine. He was under a lot of stress, and he happened to be in a lot of pain during that time. And these situations with the drugs are actually getting taken out of proportion because, when Michael, for instance, I'll give you an example. In Munich, Germany, he fell 50 feet on a malfunction on a bridge. He was in severe pain. That hurt.
I'm not saying he didn't get exposed to the medicines for legitimate reasons.
And don't
he had
get me
a bad
wrong,
burn,
the doctors...
He, of course, was going to take them.
But the fact is...
But Frank, why was he was admitted in London to a chemical dependency treatment program, if you recall, and there's a video of him talking about his addiction. And here's the thing about addiction, is once you meet criteria to be admitted to a program, by definition, either the program needs to be delicensed because they didn't properly diagnose somebody, or they allowed somebody who didn't have the disease of addiction, which almost never happens, or he has a lifelong condition because he met criteria and was admitted to a program.
No,
so we know he has addiction. It's not something debatable. That's just simply a fact in the history of his life. And my question simply is, why didn't people, once he got treatment, why didn't people continue to support that process of recovery?
Dr. Drew, Michael was in a situation where, he also knew there was a point in his life where he came where, he wanted to get better, and he did. And that happened. But, we're talking about, I really, and I've seen, there were so many doctors who manipulated Michael. And Michael was also a victim of these doctors. These doctors manipulated him.
I totally agree with you, Frank. Now I want to hear more about that. I want to hear more about that. I completely agree with you.
They saw Michael as a money pit. They pushed things on, and that's where I got so upset and pissed off, and because that should have never happened. And that's where I put my foot down. And I had very clear conversations. In fact, there was a doctor